first thing that happened that was a shock to us was when we started to tell people that Sean had Down syndrome, they started crying and they were saying, "I'm sorry."
And we understood if people said they were sorry, because that wasn't inappropriate.
No, it wasn't.
You know, it wasn't like someone had died, but yeah, it was a sad time.
He's not dead. I mean, why are you sorry? And then I have to tell them it's okay, you know, everything's gonna be all right. Why am I comforting them?
When I told my parents that John was Down syndrome, they didn't totally understand it.
Walking down the hallway and seeing the other families carrying their healthy babies and having them ask where my baby was and having to explain that she was in the NICU and not quite sure how to talk about it, it just leads for some really, really awkward moments.
They were somewhat upset because they said it's going to be too hard for you with having 3 girls, and now you have a son that's going to require a lot of attention. It's going to be really difficult for you guys.
At a certain point, you know, we couldn't spend any more energy worrying about other people's feelings, that they're uncomfortable. You know what? Our feeling was, get over it.
And so we stopped telling people. We didn't tell anybody after like the first 3 or 4 people that he had Down syndrome.
The nurses became really, really, really nice. Not that they weren't nice before, but they actually took time to sit next to me and not say anything medical and not want to take my blood or anything. They just sat next to me like woman to woman, you know, without poking or prodding, just existing, which was really important to me.
And how about you just say, I don't know what to say? I always remember we said that, like, just tell us you don't know what to say. We're good with that. But if you're just going to ignore the whole thing and kind of pretend, oh, everything's fine.
Yes.
Honestly, we didn't have time for those. So we lost a few friends.
Well, when we created Sean's birth announcement, I thought, you know what? This isn't enough information. People need to know more about Sean than that. And I didn't want them to tell me they were sorry.
I rarely felt comfortable in the early years of bringing it up to people that I met through business. Not because I was ashamed, but because you didn't know if people were going to react, and this was business. Yes. So it's like, great, it's going to affect my relationship with somebody that I'm doing business with, and what if they're uncomfortable and they're not going to want to be our customer, or whatever it is.
I added a note into the birth announcement. Dear family and friends, Sean is a very special baby, and the birth announcement can't possibly say it all. God has made Sean special and chosen us to be his parents. We feel blessed. Sean has Down syndrome. We want you to have time to adjust to the news so you wouldn't feel the need to have an immediate response.
Because I don't want to go through it all and start, do they understand? What are they going to treat me differently?
I remember I would always say, did you tell them she had Down syndrome?
Yeah, and it usually mean like,
and you just go, no, I didn't.
No,
and I say, well, wouldn't it be a little easier if you don't, your friends know this already, so when we go there, they'll be comfortable with it or not comfortable with it, whatever. But you wouldn't.
We hope you feel the same as we do. We're happy and proud, and we would like you to see Sean as we do, a beautiful baby boy.
It's gotten progressively easier and easier over the years, and also people understand more now, so you don't have to explain. You know, people, I'll have an automatic thing. If my daughter has Down syndrome, she lives at home with us, she works in an insurance company, she does great, we love her. So I have my whole little 20-second spiel planned. This way they don't have to ask 50,000 questions.
We also want you to treat him just like any other baby. Congratulate us. Be happy we have a baby. We are a family now. This is not a sad moment. Please do not apologize. We aren't sorry. We're still gathering information on Down syndrome and probably won't be able to answer any questions for a while. And we'd like you to encourage you to call us. Come to see Sean. He sleeps, eats, cries, and dirties diapers just like every other baby. He's just got an extra chromosome.
The biggest things I hate about Down syndrome is the name. It's a Down syndrome. I wished that the doctor who discovered this is Mr. Up, or Miss even John or Smith or whatever. That is why Elena doesn't like it. It's because you feel down, and everybody hates this Down syndrome.
There's a myth out there in the world in general that's actually makes parents of kids with Down syndrome laugh hysterically.
The one myth that I would like to dispel about people with Down syndrome is that they're always happy.
That's a myth, that they're just always smiling.
And people will, when they find out you have a child with Down syndrome or an adult child with Down syndrome, they will say things like, oh, they're such loving children. They're so happy all the time. They're such happy children.
It's kind of true, I would say, so maybe it's not a myth in terms of being loving. That Rachel certainly fits that, and most do, but I don't think necessarily not everyone with Down syndrome is happy and loving all the time.
They have a full range of emotions, just like anybody else.
I mean, Stephen has a pretty happy personality, but he's not always happy, and he's also not angelic all the time.
Rachel's a very positive person, but she has feelings. So she gets upset with things, and she gets sad. She doesn't get angry.
No.
But I've met people with Down syndrome who get very angry.
He has moods like everybody else.
Right. He just disobeys us, just like other kids disobey.
Another myth is if you have Down syndrome, anything that's happening in your life is because of Down syndrome. But that's not true either. And this is one that parents have to advocate with medical professionals all the time.
The other myth is that they're all alike.
Yes.
Everyone with Down syndrome.
People with Down syndrome can also have autism. They can also have bipolar disorder. They can have obsessive compulsive disorder. They can have oppositional defiance disorder. They can have any range of mental illnesses, just like the typical population has.
Let's face it, they have features of Down syndrome, but there's still other genetics and they look different just like everybody else.
And a lot of times behavioral issues are attributed to mental health issues, and they should be addressed. But instead, a lot of medical professionals will say, oh, that's just because they have Down syndrome, or that's just because they don't understand, and that's just the way they act.
I think people generally think people with a disability is a different human, but they actually have an extra chromosome, which means something better than us.
Well, I just got back from the Down Syndrome Association of Los Angeles Gala. I had a great time, but again, with Elena's behavior, it's bothering me. I know everybody says that they love her with her emotions and very, very honest emotions. Happy and sad and angry and cries and happy again. She's very honest, and it is great that she can show it. However, in the public like that, I get annoyed. I don't know whether it is just me personal or because I'm Japanese and I'm trying to be a proper all the time. I know I have to accept her as she is, but at the same time I'd like her to be able to control it as grown-up woman. Is that something to do that because Elena was in a special education, she was kind of allowed to be different, and the children went to a mainstream, whether they were not allowed to be like that, and then so they can behave like the typical children. So it's really don't know why she's like that, and then that comes back to the decision that we really need to have psychiatric assessment for her. She has been told she has a very poor impulsive control. Whether that medication will help her, or the most worries for us is make her to be very, very passive. So that is why I have been putting off to admit that she needs to see psychiatrists. I'm going to give it a try to see what the professional think about it. Rather than thinking and all the worst thing could happen, you just have to try.
You can make your life anything you want.
I just want to feel love.
I'm here, I'm alive, I'm human. We have to stick together.